And we're live. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to TFC Live, Season 3, Episode 31. And this is the post-bounty roundup, bounty 12, that is, 1 year to the day, and the weekly update. First of all, I'll say hello to my co-host, Robin. Hi, Robin. How you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you, mate.
Super duper duper? Yeah, not too bad, I don't think. I'm off work, so yeah, it's a good chilled out week. Plenty to do.
Very nice.
Plenty to do and not much I want to do, but there we go. And hi, all guys in chat. Welcome. Heffel's in there. I can see her. Serena's in there. James. There's a few, actually. Border Reaver. That's quite an interesting name, I must admit. Headley Morgan. Anyway, there's a few. So that's good. Right. Let's have a little look at straight into the slide pack. And there isn't a huge amount tonight, which is good because it gives you a bit of free time. Hopefully, Ren will pop in a bit because he wants to do a little bit of live stuff on the game as well. So we'll see how it goes. So I'll share the screen. Hopefully we can see, whoops, that should get us everything. It says start the slide back right in the middle, not very good, but there we go. Alrighty, okay, so, yeah, episode 31, okay then, and yeah, what do we got? We have got a few things. It sounds a lot, but it's not actually. So the Bounty 12 review, the Rapid Assault TLC, which you should have actually had a go at doing once already, to be honest, because it's the rerun. There's a new one, which is the Trouble TLC. There's a bit of a raid update, not huge, but there is. It's got some implications about it. A reminder of the FM target changes, bug fixes and tuning, and then hopefully if Ren does pop in, he wants to do a live session himself. Right, okay, over to Robin.
Well, Bounty 12. I can't believe that it's been a year. It seems like only yesterday we were looking at this new thing called Bounty. But anyway, Bounty, an event where the big players repeatedly smash little bases or alts and steal Bounty to spend on PvP tech. So changes that we had from Bounty 11 into Bounty 12 is, there we go. They removed the flat value bounty amount from the bases. If you remember last bounty, every base had a flat amount regardless of whether they had secured or unsecured. In the past one with that last month, if players had banked, there was still a limited amount of bounty that was available for people to take. And so, of course, this time that went away. And so if people were auto banking or banking and finished their checkpoints, there were like no targets that were left for players to hit. They also removed the NPC guards, which was a good thing. Happy to see that happening again this time.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, with the hard to kill guards. So that was really good to see back in. And then they did have the what I call bank on demand. Players could bank as they needed. You weren't required to sit on your PC all weekend and try and defend. I know this is I guess, touchy subject with a lot of people. There's kind of left side, right side, and no real in between. But until they address the issue with level bases where, you've got level 100s that are able to go out and schwack level 50s, the lower to mid-level players have to be able to bank the stuff that they earn. There are a lot of people that were out hitting the lower targets. They were grinding away. They were hitting other bases. And so they need to have a way to be able to bank. Now, whether that's checkpoints, like we were in the past with the 22210, or whether it's the ability to bank on demand, but there has to be some way for people to be able to save their bounty. And
yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, and somebody, Venom, had this suggestion, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of the person on the other page that had the same suggestion, but it was kind of like a sliding scale of allowable steal percentage, kind of like a hit down penalty. So, for example, if I'm a level 100 and I go hit TSM, who's a level 100, then I get the 50% of his unsecured bounty. But if I'm a level 100 and TSM's a level 50, then there's a reducing scale of how much of his unsecured that I can get. So just for example, let's say I could only get like 10%. So something that would kind of reduce it to where, high level players are not farming low level players. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, TSM.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't know what the fix is to Bounty. The problem is Bounty is linked to PvP, and PvP is not perfect. We all know that there's a problem with base levels. We know that it doesn't relate to the content that's within them. And then trying to run an event around that exact issue is very, very difficult. And just as we talk about it, Ren turns up. Hello, mate.
Ta-da!
Hello, buddy. How are you?
Good, you?
Yes, fine, mate. Yeah. So yeah, whilst Bounty is, you know, I get they're trying to do it. We're plugging away, as I sort of said at the weekend. There's 12 of them now. We've had a full year, and it's still not on target as to what it should be. You know, enforcing PvP is not the same as enjoying PvP. And the complications of, yes, a level 129, you know, can go and smash a level 50, even if he happens to have 400, because I couldn't find anything else anywhere closer. It's not really right as far as I'm concerned. You know, hit down multiplier, I sort of understand it, but what are you going to base it on? Is it just base level again? You know, another broken mechanic? I don't know. Don't know. Ren, your thoughts, mate? Anything? I know sort of like
overall, you know, things I like, things I don't like. I mean, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I like the point in the middle there. I don't think NPCs should have guards because they only pay 500 points. It's not enough for you to have to go through like a full base hit. I also don't like the whole mechanic of... Sorry, I like the principle that you can bank whenever you want, but I don't like that you can bank everything, and pretty much that makes almost impossible to find a good base worth a bunch of points. Like I think I tried 10, 12 bases, and the moment you kill the outside guard or the moment you peek, they bank.
There's nothing left, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much you gotta go and hit blindly a base and just pray your fleet works, which it's not how things naturally happen in PvP, right?
I had to do a terrible thing in the week, mate, on Monday particularly. I had to go and send 5 gunboats to someone's base who I knew was offline, gunboat it 5 times, make them worth some bounty, and then go and steal it.
You see, there you go. I mean, that's a loophole. I mean, should it be there? I don't know. But anyways,
couldn't find them.
That's not even that important. I think it's more like when people bank, I don't think they should bank 100%.
Yeah, I like, for want of a better term, leaving some on the table.
Yeah. If you're playing bounty, there always should be a risk. I mean, because in PvP, there's always a risk, right? And so, you know, either you go for the 10,000K auto bank, and then if you take that risk, I think it's okay that you bank everything. But if you're going to use the secure button there, I think you should bank 70, 80%, no more than that. So you're always worth something.
Yeah, that's a way of doing it. I mean, they tried doing it by the number.
You gamble. You know, you trust your guard, you trust your alliance, whatever. Let's go to 10K.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you're worth a lot. But if not, you want to bank, okay, you bank 70% of what you have. You have 6K, you're still going to have 1,800 exposed. So it's worth something to whoever hits. There's an incentive to do actual PvP, which is what the event should be about.
I do think, though, because it is PvP, and PvP is a very emotive, you know, PvE is a set pattern. We just follow what Kickside tell us to do, whether we like it or not. Tough. We either do it or we don't do it. PvP is a very emotive and very personal thing, you know, and then trying to make a functional, you know, fixed event out of every single month makes it very, very controversial. It's always going to be controversial because you can't please all the people for everything. Everyone wants to get the top prizes. No one ever can unless they're up at, you know, they're an end level player, or they really, really want to work really, really hard and go and hit and hopefully bank at the right time. They'll get somewhere, but it's hard as hell. It's you know, it's a pay to play game. It is, you know. Pav just said that it's just the way it is, unfortunately, you know. So if you're not in it to win it, you know, then you can't really be coining, particularly in PvP, because that's the only way really to win. It's just the way it is. It's designed that way. It's, you know, free to play but not to win. It's always been that way for the last 7 years.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a story of a guy in my sector, and you know, talking about people that are either coming back to the game and have been off for a year, or are, you know, don't have a whole lot of time or don't have a whole lot of coin, but are willing to put the time in. There was a guy in my sector that got 68,000 points, and he got these 68,000 points by hitting level 70 and below targets, and only if they didn't have an OP gun on them. So if you imagine the amount of time that person put in, finding those targets, doing it, and then grinding those targets, and trying to do that. So there are a lot of people that are willing to put in the effort to get the points for the prizes.
That is a hell of a lot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched him. I was like, oh my God, you're nuts. But yeah, he got it done. And there are a lot of others that were doing similar. So,
Rightio. Okay. I'll go for
Okay.
next slide. Yep.
All right. So, Nexus, I know there were a couple of really good battles that were out there. And there was a SODP, I think it was, against SDS7. I can't speak to the other worlds, but I did watch a couple of big battles. But now, Ren, you said you brought something up, a claiming issue.
Again?
Something about the timing for claiming the bonus or something.
Oh yeah, it's on Friday. I mean, Friday is a working day, and I have to believe a part of the population playing this game works, right? So it's odd because it's pretty much the time when the Friday Nexus expires. I'm usually leaving work or driving home or getting home or whatever, and I'm not going to like stop everything and run to the game. So pretty much every bounty I miss that time window you have to claim the 2,000 bounty per Nexus. And every bounty I have to open a ticket, and every bounty takes 5, 6, 7 days. Like I open my ticket on Friday. But by the way, every month they give me the points because it's easy to prove that my alliance had Nexus or 2 or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just annoying. It's one of the most annoying things in bounty for me. It's like people work. You know, make that window 6, 7 hours long. I don't care. Start the other Nexus 6 hours later if that's a problem. But it just sucks that every time I got to open a ticket, and now I have there some bounty that I can't spend because I'm waiting to see when they're going to reply to my ticket so I can see what I'm going to get to those points. Yeah, it's frustrating, you know.
Yeah, and if you're at work, then other folks are in bed too. So
that's why if you put a 6, 7, 8 hour window, eventually people, you know, the amount of people who won't be able to log in within that 7, 8 hour window and claim, it's a tiny fraction of the player base. It's not a huge chunk of the player base who's either sleeping or working.
Okay.
It's not to mention it's a Friday. Some people have a social life. It's not our case, but you know, some people will go out on a Friday.
That's funny. No, fair point, mate. No, you know, there's another conundrum, isn't it? Bounty is geared toward, technically it should be geared towards everybody, you know. To do really well, you've got to be very, very lucky if you're low level, reasonably lucky if you're mid level, and to be honest, you can do pretty well anyway if you're a high level. The Nexus point is really an elitist alliance thing. You know, no other standard alliance is going to get a look in at the Nexuses, which actually, to be honest, for the amount of damage you take and the amount of, you know, it's like a little section within a section. If it's almost like the mega ship within the game of BP itself. You know. It is for the elites without a doubt because you can't stand. Look at all those mega ships dead. You know, that's 140 odd coins each ship, and I can't even imagine how many ships are there. So, and the drip rate you get is notional. You know, in the time amount I spent doing all those battles and that sort of stuff, you can probably just go and hit some NCPs and get the same amount of points. So I don't have any issues with the Nexus actually. I did initially, and I don't find there's anything wrong with it whatsoever. I mean, what's the game?
It's a side game, you know. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. Jason,
no, it's good though. I like
it. It's like really 4K. You get on Monday, 2K you get on Friday. Okay, that's 6K bounty per Nexus. Okay, so you can go and hit opponents, replicas, and I don't know, 500, 400 each. Yeah, you're gonna have to hit 15 more, maybe 10 more. I don't know. You know.
Yeah. And I found myself having, and I know Robin did so. I had to, I split up some of my people because I couldn't even find particularly in the first 48 hours, I couldn't find any bases worth anything because people had obviously the 5 lockdown checks and people are quite switched on now. So when they go offline, they managed to lock it all away. So they've got nothing showing. And I was having to hit the really boring auto, NCP targets. And I was like, right, okay, I'm not doing this with full fleet. So I just put a Conqueror in each ship space. In each fleet space, and I just sent them all out and just sent them off on auto. And I picked every target between 80 to 90, basically, and I just autoed those. Problem is the freaking traps. Yep. As soon as there's one of those in a base, and it's not a scourge trap, it's a normal one with a wall, it's, oh my God, it's a nightmare. It's because the boat just does a spin, it stands still, it won't go into the base, it doesn't attack it, and you waste all that time. And if it's got one of those OP guns, although it's chipping away and doing minimum damage, it's still talking damage to your ships.
Well, and it's
killing... sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, the one thing that I noticed is if you're running anything with those drones, it's killing your drones, and your drones keep launching. So when you do finally realize the fleet is stuck, now you've got no drones and extra damage.
Oh yeah, I made sure I didn't take any ships out with drones on because that's just like giving away coin to Kixie, isn't it? For no reason at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel it really bothers me. I tried getting 2 fleets going on, like one driving on replicas over 100 and one on auto on replicas like below 90 or so. But you're right. The moment a base has a portal, boom, the fleet doesn't know where to go. It spins, it stops. It's extremely annoying that.
Yeah, I mean, I literally sent out, like I said, two fleets worth, so 5 ships, 10 ships, and individual ships in each slot. That sort of took all the other ships out and put those in there, sent them all off. And you're thinking that, all right, I'm looking for the next target, click, go. And then actually I went back and went, hang on a minute, the previous one wasn't dead. And I was thinking, hang on a minute, well, I've got a ship that's got like a quarter health left on it, and what has it been doing? It's been spinning in circles. I was like, freaking annoying.
Yeah, that was very, very frustrating bug. But it wasn't the whole bounty though. On Thursday, it started Thursday, right? Yeah, we didn't get the extra day this time, so it started Thursday. Thursday night, I started late. I didn't start till I guess it was about 11 o'clock my time because I was busy doing real life stuff, and I stayed up till probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I ran auto 2 fleets the whole time, and none of them got stuck. So I don't know what happened between Thursday and Friday, or I just happened to have the luck of the draw and everything went perfect. I had no issues on Thursday, but then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it was like pull your hair out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that sorry.
Well, mate. No, you go, mate.
I was just going to say the other thing to me that's conceptually wrong. And I messaged some people at Kixeye about it, like through the channels we have. Like offering a Conqueror flagship in FM, but then having a Defender and the turrets in Bounty. I think that's so like backwards. It should be the opposite, because I know not that many people attack bases on a regular basis in the game, but pretty much everyone would like to defend their base. It's kind of part of making the game enjoyable, in my opinion. So I think the whole turret and defenders should be way more widely available through FM, raid, or stuff like that. And then the Conquerors, and especially the Conqueror flagships and that kind of stuff, that should be in Bounty as a top prize. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you, mate.
Then people hitting bases who get stuff to hit bases, but people who want to defend, which is pretty much everyone in the game, I know some people say I don't care, but they got to that point of not caring because they just thought they became hopeless.
And pointless, yeah.
If you give these guys a chance of like getting the freaking turrets, getting the defenders, they will care.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask, and the guys in the chat, particularly in the live chat, and we'll pause a couple of seconds whilst we before we move on. Do you honestly? This is going to sound almost controversial, but I'm not sure if people that have joined the game in the last 3 to 4 years actually know what it was like to PvP back in the early days 6 and 7 years ago. Because because if people think that this is PvP, this bounty event, because it isn't. There's a little bit of it is, but you've really actually got to go out there and you are forced to spend a lot of money if you're hitting a lot of bases that are defended well, and particularly if people drive, it is not cheap. So the NCP is just another raid target, basically. It's just called bounty.
But to me, it's much better. I know a lot of people keep saying get rid of bounty, but if I could pick one, I would say get rid of the freaking raid, because honestly, hitting the same 2 targets in raid for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, depending on the raid, it drives me nuts. I mean, I get completely annoyed. At least with the freaking replicas, every target's different.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started,
pick, I'm just saying, that's me. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else. I would pick bounty and get rid of raid.
I literally, when I first started, I used to hit 30 bases a night, every night. Did that for 3 years, basically. Almost every night, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Banter with lots of people and that sort of stuff. And you couldn't really go many sectors either. To start with, you're only in your own sector. And then obviously it opens up to, you can move one sector to the left and one sector to the right. It took you half an hour to sail that far, and you just, click the thing, and then wait, come back, have a brew, and then all of a sudden your ship had made it. If you've forgotten about it or fell asleep, then tough, someone had killed it, And then all of a sudden these portals opened up, and then you could jump across, and then obviously you could jump worlds as well. And so things have moved on considerably.
It's a different game. If you ask me, we're not playing the same game today that it was 7 years ago. It's a completely different game.
But and that's my problem then with the fact of the Kixeye employees is because, you know, I think a lot of them don't have the original knowledge of what PvP is all about, and it's not just, you know, in the terms of battle pirates, because there's no one really about that's been there of what it used to be, you know.
Oh, big time! I mean, once I had a long chat with a guy who used to be the game designer on Battle Pirates, and for a year, he's not there anymore. And he had no clue. He's like, no. PvP is not that important. It's just a fraction of players like PvP. And I'm like, you're wrong. It's just you guys, your predecessors changed the game so much that only a small amount of people, A, can afford PvP, B, can understand this mess you made out of PvP, right? But you go back to what the game was for the first 3 years, all you had on the map was salvage, mines, and on the mines, you had actually to stay on the mine for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. So people would come in and sink your fleet to take control of the mine. So there was PvP, wasn't it? Right there.
Yeah, true FEF back.
Open fleet, open water, fleet versus fleet started because people would steal mines from each other.
And apart from sniping, there's none of that anymore. No one does it.
You know, and then,
there isn't.
And then a few months into the game, turrets were introduced and base hitting became a thing. So pretty much you had for about a bit less than a year since closed beta, open beta, I think. You had salvages, mines, open water, fleet versus fleet to steal mines or just to screw with somebody. Base hitting, that was the game.
Yeah.
So I could say maybe 50-50 between salvage and mines and FVF and base hitting. Then they introduced a raid a month in like November or December 2011. But still, that was the only event for a long time. But then they created FM, and then they created all these premium resources that you got to do PvE. And yeah, today the game is like, what, 80%, 90%? I don't know. It's PvP.
Yeah. It's the environmental bits that.
But they don't have that history, as you said. They don't know. They think this is the game. They come here, they try, oh, this is Battle Pirates, so how can I make this better? Not like, how can I make this go back to being that a lot of people... I mean, I think at some point they literally, at any point in time, had like nearly 100,000 players online in Battle Pirates alone. And it was like, you know, millions of players in the game.
Yeah, I just thought I'd get your views on it. I don't know how you can try to fix things without the knowledge of the game as a whole, not just the game as the modern game, you know, because that was its creation, you know, and we're just left with a percentage of people that, you know, the old timers have left, which is fine. People move on, that sort of stuff. But, you know, if you want to bring it back to its original, the term battle pirates, you know, what are we battling? Okay, it shouldn't be NCP targets to my that's my view anyway. Right. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, Robin.
Oh, that's okay. Prizes, I think I worked it out to be, it was about 112,000 for the new top prizes. That didn't include tokens. That was just all the new toys, which is a little more than what it was last month. They did again have prizes for all price points. They had the lower price stuff. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time that we saw the Defender build token.
Yeah, because we've got a Defender in the program, so.
Yep. So it was nice to see that. There were a couple of bugs. There were a couple of people that had, and I'm not sure if it's a lag issue, whether it was a true bug or what was happening. There were people that had secured their bounty and then were still losing it, not from base attacks, but like from when they logged off. And I think the other bug that we had was, I think initially they actually launched the NPC targets with the guards in them when they weren't supposed to be, but that was taken care of pretty quickly.
Yeah, apart from that, wasn't too bad, I suppose. Interesting.
Yeah, so it was very grindy due to lack of targets. You know, we have harped on the locator since Bounty 1. They need to split it to where you can do in sector and out of sector. You know, when you click on your locator and you see somebody's like, woohoo, okay, there, 4,000 bounty on that, go over there and find out that he's like 2 inches from you in the map. You know, there are some that don't hit and some that do. So, and then it was just, you know, the same two sectors rolling, the same two rolling sectors that give you the targets. Now, you could go out and find them by using the leaderboard and hope that they didn't have a bubble, but in the time that it would take me to find one target that was worth like maybe 800 or 1,000 points, I could have gotten 3 times as much as that just hitting the NPCs.
Yeah. Yes. As I said earlier on, it's just a crazy mechanic, but it is what it is. But in general terms, yeah, probably I think the dullest bounty I've ever taken part in.
Yeah,
personally.
I'd have to agree. Really enjoyed last one. Did not enjoy this one at all.
No, and taking out that glitch that was available to people, it's really interesting to see that the points that people were right down. I was like, really. I mean, I'm off. So I'm on leave at the moment, so I had a crazy amount of time to take my time and just do a couple of hours and then get off, and then do a couple of hours and get off and do a couple of hours. So I had a bit of time to do it into chunks. But even that, I'm thank God I did, because if I'd had just sat there all night on a normal work night and done it, it would have been death. I think, to be honest, it would have just finished me off. So, and I've not even done the TLCs this week because I was that bored with the game, but wanting to get some of the items in here that I just can't bring myself to do them. So, and I haven't.
I'll agree with you, TSM. I chose not to take the little tick there. What's called? Is it Defender?
It's a Defender tick, yeah, whatever it's called.
The beetle, the tick, whatever. I don't know the name. Anyways, I chose not to because I didn't feel like grinding. I did my math. I needed 97,000 points to get what I wanted, not including any tokens.
I will say one thing, okay?
So
literally Monday, all I did was hit base. I thought, right, I woke up on Monday, I thought, right, okay, no more NCPs. I'm sick of it. If I'm going to go and log in now, I'm going to go and do some fun. So all I went to do then was, people were taking a little bit of advantage of obviously the base hit multiplier thing, where where you do 5 gunboats and go and hit somebody's base, and then with their ults, as Robin has indicated right back at the start, you either hit lower levels or hit ults. They were then obviously hitting an ult and then stealing the points from that ult and then putting it into their own base. So I was watching a few people do that, because I was watching the counters go up and that sort of stuff in a couple of local sectors. So I'd wait till they'd done it 4 times, and I went and hit that ult base myself and stole the 2,400 and that sort of stuff, which creates some very interesting comms between me and a few players, which was funny, I thought to myself. I even got called a hacker for the first time in 2 years, which I thought was hysterical. And he also actually said, there's no way you can be there's no such thing as a level 129 in the game. So, and I should know, he says, I've been playing for years, even though I had a count on my own band a few years back. But yeah, I just find it quite funny. But
I just wanted to say, sorry, like you, I didn't do the TLCs this week, none of them. I got the 9 million points in FM to get that Conqueror flagship, the Vanguard. I did it with, I think, a few hours to go last night, in a few hours last night, after Bounty was over. I'm glad I have that full fleet of Inferno Dragons, so I could actually hit 120s non-stop and get the points. And but that was it. So the one prize, though, that I think the 2 prizes I think people should really get if they can are the 2 code snaps and the EMPs.
Yeah, the EMPs definitely, yeah.
Yeah, a few guys already saw the EMP in action, and oh my God, is that thing special?
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned. I'm sorry, I was going to say, you mentioned the FM, Brandon. I got to give props. There are some incredibly brave and resilient pirates that are out there. They added in the Greta to the FM, and I have seen posts all over the place and comments in comms. There was one guy on another page that took Punishers and Citadels and ground out the 9 million points for the Greta. So crazy. There was a lot of people that put a lot of time and effort into it to complete their fleet. So props to those of you that did it.
Yeah, no,
and if I were one of these guys, I wouldn't be focusing on Bounty. I'd be focusing on getting the Great Inferno Dragon. They're right.
Which he did, basically, yeah. Which is timely, because we'll just move to this slide here. So I've jumped forward in the slides a little bit. So that's the FM target transition. Just a reminder, okay, this is Robin's. So it's not my chart, it's Robin's chart. But we are in that period now. So obviously July, we've just got to the end of it. Look, so next month, starting on the 8th, so we're coming up. Tomorrow, isn't it? That's right for us. We'll see this new potentially 115 or something around that, something to replace the 112. I'm guessing that could be the number, something along like that. I don't know. And the drop off of some of the other targets now. We've lost the 117, so it's a done deal. It's gone now. I don't think I'll miss
No,
it
it's still there.
Well,
it will be next month though, won't it? It'll be gone. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
we
be gone
got
after
through-
the raid, and they postponed the raid
On
to
the
August
raid,
16th.
yeah.
oh yeah,
now.
that's a good point. Are they going to extend them another week, or are they still going to
There's
drop
going
it
to be an
off?
extra FM running before that, because the raid was supposed to be, I think, August 10, 9, something like that.
Yeah,
And they moved from the 9th to the 16th. So now we get an extra FM, which means extra tokens, extra everything. The raid gets pushed a week, and that date where the 117, of course, only disappears after the raid on August 23rd or so.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so I wonder if they're going to, are they going to delay this transition, and we need to update this as well? That's a valid point, actually.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question.
I don't have the answer.
Do we have a do we have a slide for the
We
change?
do, yes. So hang on, let me just go back one slide, and there we go. So that's the raid update information there. Slides are all a bit wrong all now, but it doesn't matter. So that's what I've got there. We know it's the ray of destruction. Okay, then. Why is that? Because the bat ray, sounds a bit like Batman and Robin, but there we go. Okay, will be the first chance to earn it. Okay, it's now updated, and the new start date is the 16th of August. An additional Forsaken mission, as Ren's already mentioned, then is going to be run through in the meantime. So you gain another availability to go and get some more build tokens for your mantis, because obviously it's a textile raid and it'll be a week long. But there is an issue with that, isn't there, Robin?
Yeah, and somebody, I didn't even think of this, so somebody on the page mentioned this, that if we delay this raid for a week and then they revert back to the normal raid schedule the next week, then we lose a week of build time. And if we get the new hull in this raid for the next raid cycle, then we're losing build time on that. So I'm not sure if they're going to blanket delay all of the raids, or whether this is just a weird funky thing to where we're going to be in this situation where we get an extra FM this week, yay, woohoo, or next week, but then we lose build time on the back end. So that's
normally most months we have 3 weeks of FM between raids, and then twice a year we have 4 weeks of FM between raids. That's just how the calendar goes, right?
This one's going to be the way around, though, isn't it?
So this time now we're having 4 weeks of FM now.
For this one, yeah, but between August and September,
should be 3 weeks.
It'll just be because it'll finish on the 23rd, and that'll give us that week up until the 30th, the 30th through to the 6th, and then the 6th to the 13th, because the 13th is the next raid. It should be September 13th.
So it's 3 weeks of FM.
Yeah.
That's my point. It's what you get most months. I mean, 10 months, 10 periods out of the 12, we get 3 weeks of FM. That's what we're getting. Now, if people are smart, unless they have something that's really urgent to build that cannot wait,
stack and keep them.
They will stack all the tokens or chests and tokens from the previous week. Right? Because I don't know if all players know that, but you can, let's say 2 weeks before the raid, you can do your FM, open all the chests, stack the tokens. The week before raid, you do your FM, you redeem the chest, but you do not open the chests.
Exactly, yeah. So you've got double whammy, yeah.
Exactly. Raid starts, you get the new ship, you spend the tokens you have. Once you're clean of tokens, generic ship tokens, now you open the chests and you get all a week worth of FM tokens again. So folks, plan it out, right? Think, use strategy. It's not just about coining, it's about being smart. Again, unless you're like running to get your manticores done for this raid because you still didn't have them, that's a different ball game. But if you can, do it.
I think that's a really, really good way of putting it, mate, to be honest. And it should get people ahead. Okay, that brings us on then to the TLCs we've got at the moment. I think the release is slightly incorrect. So at the moment we've got this one here, which is obviously the Rapid Assault. It's a rerun. It's nice. It's the escalation weapons. I mean, I'm not sure they're escalation, but they're add-on weapons. Basically, they're speed-up weapons. You either want them or you don't want them. If you want your Manticore fleet to go fast, whether you've got the missile version or the scatter version, throw some of these on. Make sure you do them correct, the right amount, because if you've got, the Darkwing CIC, you need less and that sort of stuff. But if you want them, go and win them, and there are some there to go and get. There's enough there to get you to get your fleet balance correct, which is nice. The price pack is exactly the same as it was before. So this is a rerun of something out a couple of weeks ago, or sorry, last month. I mean, start of the month, I think it came out on the 1st of July. I think it was when it first came out. But yeah, so great. Escalation weapons, this one starts today. Interestingly, though, for the first time, for 6 months, I think it is we've got a co-op one. For those in your alliance then, or anybody you want to help in general, doesn't have to be in your alliance. There is a co-op one, okay? And basically, whoever owns it is the one that gets the main prize. And the person that goes in to help gets that stuff at the bottom. It's not hope. No, that's not, it's wrong. It is quite good stuff. MDS 3, Hyper 3, and that sort of stuff, 30, sorry, So there are some good little chests there to get you some items. So encouraging people to go and help really, really low-level people to go and get this ship. At this stage, I don't know if there's enough build tokens. I don't know, ×3, there can never one day Manticore build tokens ×3 there, and another Manticore. So there's 9 straight away. There's VXP and that sort of stuff. So,
well, it's a good thing.
More than 9. Why do you say there's only 9?
So there's 3 build tokens there in price pack 1, isn't there?
Look at pack 2. You have 3 times 1 day, and then 3 times 3 days.
Oh, and 3 times 3. So what does it all add up to?
So it's 9 there, 12 on pack 2, 3 on pack 1. So that's 15. Then on pack 3, there's another 3 times 3 and 3 times 1, so 12 more. So you're getting 28 days.
You can get 2 ships.
Manticore build tokens.
Yep, and it's
28 days. It's a lot.
Good opportunity, especially for people that may be missing the one piece. If they don't have the particular CIC or the special or something like that, they could grind out the others, but couldn't get all of it. So
do you know what I honestly do? Bear in mind, I've got all sorts of different levels in my alliance and that sort of stuff. I would literally get enough stuff here, and you could probably get 2 out. And if you're really going to do this, because you're really keen to help out your other friends as well, not just your own lines, but want to help people out, and you can go and smash the S set, no problem at all. If you can get them enough so they can actually go and finish a S set, and you can go and prep them for the next raid in the week-long raid, then they need only just one of these ships. You can go and build absolutely everything and have yours done tickety boo, all full up, and then go and smash over your S sets, no problem at all. But they just need one ship. And they just need one of those carriers in there with nothing left on it, and they just need one hull to go in there with 1 missile, ideally, and just knock out that carrier, and they get the bonus, and they'll get the 5 million. And then you can literally gift somebody and then set them right for the next raid set.
Oh, but honestly, with 28 days of tokens there,
there's a couple of ships, isn't it?
And plus whatever people can get in tokens from FM, plus the regular days between now and raid on the 16th. So it's 16 days, 28 days, plus tokens from FM. At the very, very, very least, a person could earn and build and get some rank with the VXP tokens on 2 Manticores. Yeah,
you can definitely do 2, but I would save up my FM tokens, as you said, for the previous thing, for the next one, though. I know you can't say all because we've got another FM, haven't we? But they can definitely get to a situation. You can get anybody at any level now to a situation where they could, as long as they got the dock size, that is, they're not too low in level, to have at least 2. I reckon you're right. I think it's probably 2 Manticores built with enough to go and plug away at really low level targets, and then if somebody calls you over and go, "Here you go, mate. Here's the first one of the S set. I have that one, and then I'll do another one a bit later," and then just keep giving them that little nudge.
Yeah, and just reminding people, I know most people watching the show, if not everyone knows that already, but remind your junior alliance mates and friends in sector that these Manticore fleets will be needed to get titanium going forward. Yep. Eventually, they're going to replace the map targets, the river targets, with these, and you will need the Manticores to get titanium.
Yeah, but then what comes first? Do you want to do this? Do you want to build your Gretas? Do you want your dragons? What you've got to prioritize, haven't you? So it's not easy. But this is a win, because literally as soon as you finish one of your dragons or whatever it is you're doing for your FM, you can just pause and then just listen to some people, obviously in your alliance and that sort of stuff, or go on the pages and ask, and then just come up with an idea and just literally just use the tokens and get it done, and get it out of the way. Make sure you've got enough res, obviously, and then get back to building your FM fleet, and then just park this to one side and go, right, I'm ready for the next FM job done.
Yeah,
but if you are in a situation where you're finishing off your fleet, this is a gift, an absolute gift.
Yeah, or even just building shells, a couple, 3 shells or whatever outside of the one that you need for the raid with tokens so that they're ready for the VXP weekend, and then do your refits. And then speaking of tokens, remember there are limits. So if you've got a build that's got 3 or 4 days going and you've
Don't do it all
tokens,
in once.
Don't do it all at once. Schedule it with people. I don't know how other folks have done it. I'm not sure. Is this one of the ones where it's like 3 different targets, or are they all targets that require the manticores?
This one here, it didn't say you had to have manticores to go into this, because obviously the person that's starting it can't have manticores, because obviously that's what they're going in it for. So the previous TLC, you do need to have them to go in them. To get the escalation speed up type weapons, you've got to have the manticore to go into that one. But this one, it didn't say you had to.
Yeah. No, the rapid assault, that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
rapid assault.
But this double trouble.
Where I was going with this one is, if you remember when they had the TLC for the Bucky, it was 3 different targets, 3 different fleets, like the Phoenix, then the Fangs, and then you used the Buckies or the Hydras or the Siege fleet. And if this is similar to that, you can coordinate throughout your sector. We had a huge conga line going in our sector where all of the line, they're like, these people were doing just level 1, these people were prepping level 2, and these people were prepping level 3, and pretty much everybody in the sector had a Bucky fleet by the end of it. So.
Yeah, and the cool thing this time is people helping actually get some shards, right? There's a treasury chest, and you can get shards for one of the 4 items below.
I like that.
Yeah, the missile defense system 3 is pretty good.
Right. Okay. So for the helper, there are chests there for everybody that helps out and that sort of stuff. So it puts us in a good place. I think. For you, I'm going to help some people out. It'd be good. I think it can get people just finishing off those last couple of ships, because people are still struggling. I know they are. Radio bug fixes. What do we got then? So premium gift costs appear incorrect in the game, but were corrected in the Facebook purchase screen. Premium gift costs appeared incorrect in game, but were correct on the Facebook purchase. Oh, I see. So when you go through to actually click on it, then you get a different price to what actually was indicated on in the game itself.
That, I think, was also tied to. There were a couple of posts on it, and it was a lot of it was in the app. So when in the app, it would show like the US price, and then when they go to click on it, it would show like the Australian dollars, and so there was a big disconnect between the two.
Australian dollar, is that a thing?
Yeah, bongo bucks, as they're called.
No, is it? Oh, I didn't know the currency in Australia was Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for real, I'm not making fun of it. I just didn't.
No, it's the Australian dollar. So yeah, it was showing one thing, and then when it switched to the other, it showed it in the currency, and so people were getting confused, and they're thinking they were getting ripped off when it was just doing the currency conversion.
In Canada, we have monopoly money.
Yeah. So Greta's Infernal Dragon reduced in scale on the world map. It was huge, wasn't it?
I'm kind of disappointed by this. I liked that.
It was huge, though. It was bigger than bases. It was like...
Everyone heard what Ru said. Size matters.
Yes, it does, especially when you're old and you need glasses.
So yeah, interesting. I mean, obviously, a lot of people have already finished their R&D, but added missing timer on the base activity when using R&D. So is that the little spinning clock thing that you used to have on the side of it, or is that just a timer to count down when your R&D is finished? I don't know, because I've finished mine, so I don't know where that sits. Have you noticed any little orange pumpkins out on the water, or is that gone completely and it's just someone?
No, actually, if you start like a mega hull component there, right? The one that takes a day or half an hour or whatever, the pumpkin should show up.
I mean, I was used to, but I mean, they sort of disappeared.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying that was missing, and they re-added, right?
Ah, right. Okay. So I'm just laughing at chat. What did I get to? Yeah. So replica bases with the excessive number of duplicate buildings were causing the battle server to crash. These bases have been removed from the replica base set. Okay.
I heard some people were banned and maybe associated with that. I don't know.
Can't
Do you guys
imagine what
know? Some
Yeah.
duplicate buildings on replicas. That means the original had duplicate buildings too, like 2 turrets in one.
Or
kind
two
of thing.
OPs.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember seeing a couple of bases with 3 OPs in a while back now, but yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So next one, reinforced chromium armor special. Sorry, armor. Okay. Incorrectly listed in the retrofit group. Removing it will not impact on its performance as it did not receive a benefit from being in that group. So they just move things around. So that's a technical thing. Yeah. So the new launcher failing to trigger its shockwave. If that's being fixed, I'm interested to see what that's going to be like now, because it's the boom on that, as Ren made in his recent video, is massive.
What?
The Flagstone launcher.
Oh, yeah.
hasn't
When it
been working.
shockwaves, if you have the right special, it's 1.08 million radioactive damage unfiltered.
Yeah, it's lots.
So it's that versus your deflection. So if your deflection is just like 200K, 300K, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, and it wasn't working up till this point, and it wasn't working full.
Yeah,
and today's the first time we're going to see that. So if you can get those turrets in there and you can get them to get to that shockwave, people are going to be a bit upset. Venom in chat says he confirms it hurts.
Oh, it does.
Okay. Creating advanced systems in the outpost has no timer. Didn't know it did. Okay.
Yeah, on the side, it shows as research.
Oh, yes. Gotcha. Okay. Additional minor bugs and performance improvements. I don't know what those were, but apparently they've done
those scare me.
Additional minor bug fixes and it's the performance improvements that concern me.
Well, we know the whole hardware acceleration was crashing Bounty big time. I think everybody had to disable it to do Bounty, because every time you entered the replica bases, my computer would just sit and cry and not render the game.
Yeah, I had that up until Sunday. Then I turned it back on Sunday to check, and then it was okay. But I still couldn't view base hits on my base, and I still couldn't go in and pick up on the Kick-Size site the battle logs. It just went to a blank screen. But apart from that, that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah, they had I think it was 2 bugs today. One I think is already fixed, and that was where you couldn't repair your defender fleet after the update. So I believe that's been taken care of. And when they started the update, it was an hour before the TLCs finished, and so they borked the TLCs at the end. So if you were still had 1 level to go or a couple of battles to go when the update started, Chris Johnson, the new CM, said that you could send in a ticket and CS would get you sorted for that. So I know there were some people that got caught off guard by that.
Yep. Okay. So we've only got 1 slide left, and it's something that Ren wanted to have a look. Did you want to load up the game, Ren, and have a look at this turret you were talking about?
What? Oh, yes. I actually have it loaded here.
Good. Right. Well, I'll take myself off share, and then I'll share yours.
I'm just going to go somewhere here. Yeah.
Pick up one of your many screens.
Give me a sec.
He'll be there. So Ren did a really good video posted up on the page. So it was all about, the up-to-dated July 18 version of turret building and that sort of stuff, but also defensive stats required on PvP ships, obviously, to be able to get past some of the turrets that are quite problematic for some individuals when they're hitting bases.
Yeah, I'm going to share what you're talking about first. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I've got you locked on.
Yep.
I don't know if I am. You tell me.
Yeah, I've got you. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so I don't know if I can. Which screen are you seeing?
Yeah, that's. I'm seeing the
big slide or the small things?
The small ones, mate. Yeah.
So let me swap
there over.
Now. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, got you.
So yeah, that's just what I did on my video. It's on my YouTube channel if you guys want to watch it. I just kind of calculated some scenarios, of course, not all of them. I used Wayne's calculator, the turret calculator, right? It's a huge help for me. So I went there and I did 4 scenarios per turret, just with the specials, and I just assumed that there will be 8 turrets in group for penetrative and ballistic, and only 2 radioactives right now, and 4 explosive in groups.
Yeah.
I assume the AT transformer for all of them, even though I don't use all of them like that, but that's the worst case, right? And assume that the attacker has 50% turret defense, so already accounted for that. So that's my quick guide to know, okay, am I building a good conqueror? It's just when I look at my deflections versus, oh, if I hit a Legion faction base with some executioners and vultures, what is the worst damage I can take? Oh, it's right here. That's the worst damage I can take.
Yeah.
Right? But that means if it's Legion, that means the ballistic turrets will not have faction. So at most they're going to have fire support bonus kind of thing. So that's the worst damage I can take, not this, that, right? And then the phlogiston here is here, the regular per pallet and the shockwave. It's big. I think that's a very strategic turret right now. You know, so I just did that. I did a bit of a scenario, and that's an actual ship I have. Like, it's my impact cruiser tank. And then I can see, oh, okay, it's good against ballistic, it's good against penetrative. But looking at radioactive with 275, I can only take the best case scenario hit from a phlogiston, like when it just has the specials. But if the player has the right faction, which I think it's River for radioactive, right? And if they have fire support on that, or if they shockwave on me, then I'm going to take a massive chunk of damage. So that helps me understand when will this ship perform and when is it a bad choice, right? Because I don't believe in like a bad or good ship for all situations. That's naive. It's just like this ship is good against that base or that kind of base.
Yeah, and that's the knowledge that comes through experience, and that's
Yeah.
why you can't just go, can I have a build for X, because it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but a lot of people like to do exactly that. Can I have a build for X?
Yeah, it doesn't work in PvP. It's great for PvE. The targets is generic, and it's you just pick the level and then build a ship for it. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
And I actually took advantage of that and shared that with my alliance on the NPC bases in Bounty. So like people were using gluttony subs, and of course, you know, the Scourge trap surfaced your sub. So it's like, okay, odds are if it's got the Scourge on the outside, then they've probably got the Scourge trap. So look at the Reaver ones and that kind of stuff. And so that's something that people can use to, you know, decide, do I want to pick this base? Do I don't want to pick this base? So it's a really good video. If you have the time, sit down and look at it, and please share it to your alliances for your other players, because even though they may not need it now, if they're kind of mid-level or upcoming, it will be something they can use later on.
Yeah, perfect. Right,
Thank
just
you.
the last 5 minutes then. Ren's going to actually go through the building of this new Cold Snap 2.
Yeah, so that's the Cold Snap. You know, even with all the turrets in group, I mean, it only does 200 damage, basic, right? 200 damage, you divide by 10 salvo, so it's doing 20k. In today's game, that's nothing, 20k damage per salvo. So it's really not there for the damage. It's a strategic turret that's going to disable tactical modules on attackers. It has a very good range of 191. So what you might want to do, and that's my thinking, you guys tell me what you think. I thought about either you put that on water, and you can use like the UTT transformer put on water, or the DTR, where you get extra 10 range, so it goes from 191 to 201 range, and you gain some resistances too. I mean, I thought either or. What do you think?
Yeah, and because it's, you know, as you said, the damage is irrelevant, but what you're doing, you've gained range, which means you're going to take off their attack mods even earlier, and you can put it further back in the base, which is going to protect it.
Exactly. You can even put in Central Island because it's going to reach most channels, at least pieces of it, right? Then specials, there is one that I think it's important, where the one that Eruption Pyre, just because it gives 161% extra reload. And I think the faster this one fires, the more you neutralize your attacker, right?
Yeah, I've built a couple, and I've cranked them right up on
the
reload
normal
speed.
reload on that turret is 9 seconds, so it's fairly slow.
What's the new one with the big? There's a new one with massive splash and massive reload. I can't remember what it is. There's a special that came out with the, what's that new mortar? There's one that came out with that, isn't there?
Does it give reload, that one?
Or does it just give splash? I can't remember what it was.
D2 shells too. It gives you a nice splash. but it's only 35% and damage. Like again, if you're not going for damage on this turret, that's not the ideal special. What you actually want is probably this one with 80% splash, fuel tank 01X. Right? I mean, it does damage too, but it gives a lot of splash, more than Zintium Shells too. Although Zintium Shells gives you projectile speed, so if you're handling
I think there's a
fast
projectile.
attackers,
What's the projectile speed on that? It's quite.
let's go back and see. 330 is not too fast, but there's a spread of 80.
Yeah, I was trying to. That's it. Yeah, because the range was up to 200. I was trying to make sure that it actually landed on the ship. Because some of these ships are going 70 odd.
Yeah.
Combat speed, aren't they?
So we may go. Sorry, let me go back. I'm clicking wrong. So okay, here we could go with Zintium Shells too, just for the projectile speed then, right? Because then you can still look at other options like Sulfide Deployer, 80% splash.
Yeah.
So you can combine those three. Forget that it gives corrosive, whatever, scattergun reload. That doesn't matter.
That's the
But this
special
one
I've got,
gives you the reload. This one gives you the projectile speed and some splash. And this one will give you a lot more splash. So the landing zone to affect your enemies is a lot bigger. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's basically what mine looks like now with a couple of bits of armor on it, just in case.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I would build my code snaps, right? The other thing I was having a hard time with was with portals. So I can show it to you now because the portal's repairing. I was attacked earlier. But balancing two turrets in a portal, if you still want to keep the trap, is very hard. I put a code snap 2 in here. But then the other one had to be an old phlogiston one, was the most I could put in the portal without exceeding the maximum power. So if you ask me, I think it's like about time Kixeye gives us a level 3 portal so we can put 2 top turrets and the trap.
Yeah. Interesting comms chat.
Yeah. Ginger is just making some jokes in there for everyone.
She is funny. Makes me laugh. Oh dear. Good to see her about. Anyway, right. Good. Yeah, thanks for that, mate. That's good. And there's some good ideas there. I like the fact of keeping it a little bit further back so you can't obviously get nipped right at the early stages. And yeah, people are using obviously that special particularly on their ships so that they can ignore certain things in traps and certain lockdowns and certain other things as well. So that nullifies it. So, and if you can get the reload up, then you're basically going to cause them an annoyance, especially if you can get rid of that attack module ability and then obviously get the phlogiston doing its boom at the same time now, then you can make a right mess of some people's ships, I think. But yeah, anyway, PvP, it's a real personal thing, and it's a definite, as I've always said, it's all about alliances, and I don't condone it, but I certainly don't like the posts of, can somebody give me a build for X, and it's a PvP ship. Well, I have only 1% of the information I need, that you want that hull. The rest of it, I have no idea what you're talking about, because you're not in my alliance. I've not seen your base. I've not seen what you're attacking. I don't know what specials you've got. I don't know what the specials are on the turrets you want to go and hit. And I don't know the layout of the base either. So there are too many unknowns. So I never answer the PvP questions personally.
And what I tell people to do is, put something in a build, whether it be in your shipyard or whatever, and ask for advice, because people will not give you their secret source. But if they see you doing something inadvertently stupid, they'll let you know so that you don't go on the wrong track.
Yeah, even Earth was doing that the other day. Even Earth came on our page and went, "You really don't want to look that. How about doing this instead? Think in this area. You're not going to give away all the little cookies that your own alliance has managed to, collect in their little cookie jar." So
yeah, no, like some people are asking about impact cruiser builds on the page. I'm like, hey, why don't you post yours?
Yeah, I've seen it 4 times in literally the last 24 hours. So.
Yeah, honestly, guys, if you want PvP builds, you gotta work a little bit for it at the very least, right? PvE, we share more freely, of course, but PvP, you gotta work for it.
Well, there's a different us and them for PvE, that's why.
And that's why I rarely do PvP builds. Like, I think I did the Missile Strike Cruiser, but I didn't do any of the other holes. I'm thinking about doing the Ifrit now, so just these two. But people got to figure out their own slots and impact cruisers and the likes.
Yeah, I agree. And at that point, I think we've come to the hour, and I think we're done. Unless anybody's got anything else, Robin, anything to close on?
Yes, just a reminder that, well, I guess it's moved now to a week later. It was supposed to be next week, but the next raid is the 6-day long mega tech store raid. So start saving your daily chests now so that you have a bunch for during the raid.
I always say that, but I never do that. Funny.
I did last time. I did last time. I had like 3 of them, which is like 3 more than I normally have. But
I have 2, but I've had these 2 for months now.
Okay, anything you want to close on, Ren?
No, all good.
You're happy, are you? The only thing I want to quickly mention.
Happy with life, not super happy with game, but whatever.
Yeah. The only thing I just want to literally cover is Wayne, obviously, one of our admins as well. He runs his own site, and he did it before he came to the TFC. So, and he's adding bits as it's going along. Long and short is, he's trying to do what many people are trying to do, but trying to do it all in one website, which is very difficult to do. But there are certain key elements that we used to use that people aren't doing anymore because they've either left the game, you know, but people value those assets and those sort of stuff. One of the things he's got on there is a really good base turret calculator, which is fantastic, and a base turret builder as well. You know, he's got a base bubble pad builder on there as well. Although Kicks, I've messed a little bit around with the mechanics on that, to be honest. And he obviously does his raid prize, sort of like collector on it as well. So there are a few things on that website. The Ahoy Mahati, if you haven't got it, I've just put a link in the chat for the guys there. And when we post this one up on the webs, on YouTube, I'll put a link in the comments below as well. So he really wants some feedback and wants to know what it is you want in the game these days, and then he'll have a look at see if he can create it and see if it makes sense. That's it. It's a bit of a plug, of course it is, but you know, ultimately we are losing certain real key assets that help us out, and Huggies is one of those examples. You know, Huggy did stop playing some time ago, as we've mentioned before, and it's now his site is, you know, and his little assistance tool is missing some massive key elements now. So he did say he may or may not come back once a month and do little blocks of things, but he's not promising anything. It was a project for him, and the project did or did not pay off. It paid off for us. I'm not sure it paid off for him. So don't flog the man because he's not doing it anymore, because he did it for the love of the game and to help people out.
He stopped like a year ago. So props to him for keeping it up so long.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, on that night, it's the next day, in fact. Yes, it's just tipped over midnight for me, so I won't say good night. I can almost say good morning. But I'll just say it's the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, Ren, for that bit at the end. That was really, really worthwhile. I hope you get what you wanted out of Bounty, and I hope you enjoy the fact we have an extra week of them. What they're going to do, like I said, a bit later on to recover that fact, up to them. But adjustment of the FM targets may be delayed, as Ren has hinted there. I'm sure they'll put out an update to that. And if we do get it, then we'll stick that on our page as ever. I'll say good night. Thanks very much. Take care.
Night.
Goodbye, everyone.